A 15-year-old boy has been sentenced to a minimum of 13 years in detention for the murder of teenager Rohan Shand, who was killed on his way home from school in Kingsthorpe, Northampton. Affectionately known as Fred by his family and friends, the 16-year-old died after an incident near the Cock Hotel in Harbour Road at about 3:35 p.m. on Wednesday, March 2022. During the trial at Northampton Crown Court, jurors heard how the attack on Fred was plotted on Snapchat and an electric scooter was used to find him. The attack was planned in response to a dispute between local schoolboys which had occurred the previous 2 days at Taco Bell and McDonald's. Fred was walking from school with friends and was near the Cock Hotel junction when the 15-year-old found him, having already attended the school looking for him. Fred and his friend crossed to the island after being made aware the defendant was looking for him, but it was too late to avoid the confrontation that followed. The 15-year-old approached Fred and, having driven him back into a tree, stabbed him into the chest, causing catastrophic blood loss before fleeing. The entire incident was over in 7 seconds. Two upstanding members of the public who witnessed the incident followed the defendant to a nearby house and were able to inform police of his location. Armed officers attended the address and found the 15-year-old hiding in an attic room after being told the guy who did it is still inside the house. 2 knives, one with Fred's blood on it, were found at the property along with discarded clothing and mobile phones. A 17-year-old boy who stood trial alongside the 15-year-old and also who cannot be named for legal reasons, was found not guilty of murder and manslaughter. However, he was sentenced to 18-month youth rehabilitation order today after pleading guilty to the charge of being in possession of a knife during the incident. During today's sentencing hearing, the court heard about the devastation Fred's death caused to his family and friends. A victim impact statement from Fred's dad, Rohan, was read to the court. In it, he said, "Words cannot describe how I feel and the impact of losing Fred has had on not just me, but my family, Fred's friends, and the whole town. Losing Fred has left me with sleepless nights, anxiety, and insufferable pain. When Fred was taken, so was my heart. My life will never be the same. When I wake up in the morning, I forget for a moment and shout Fred for school, make 2 cups of tea, and then it all comes crashing down. All I have left is memories and photos of his upbringing and fun times. Fred was my best friend, my son, and I relied on him to help me with technology. He would help order things online and would also help around the house. We were a team and faced everything together. I will never get over losing my Fred. We had such a close bond. We had so many plans for the future. He didn't even get to sit his GCSEs, get married, have children, and explore the world. Before Fred's passing, he was planning to get an apprenticeship in bricklaying. I know Fred would have gone on to do amazing things, but now all those dreams have been shattered. Whilst the 15-year-old will be spending the next few years in detention, it pales by comparison to the impact Fred's murder has had on Rohan and the whole family. Fred had his whole life ahead of him. He was about to sit his GCSEs and will have been looking forward to his future. His family have been left devastated by the brutality of his death and his friends traumatised. Today concludes the criminal proceedings into the murder of Fred, and I hope his family and friends will now be able to grieve his loss with the comfort that the person who was responsible has been held to account. I want to thank them for the support they gave us throughout the investigation and the dignity they showed whilst listening to the evidence presented at court. Fred was simply walking home from school when he was senselessly attacked and killed. There is no possible justification for his death. The 15-year-old may not have set out to kill Fred, but he and his friend chose to take knives when they left home to confront him. The 15-year-old was only 14 at the time. 14. What is going through the minds of our young people when they decide to bring a knife to settle a petty schoolboy dispute? They need to wake up and realise that when they do so, the chances of someone getting stabbed massively increases, and the consequences of that are all too apparent. My hope is that other young people now realise the very real dangers of carrying a knife. If you're carrying a knife, the chance of it being used by you or against you are extremely high. Enough is enough, and we need a societal change. We all have a responsibility to speak to children and young people about the dangers of knives. Please take that responsibility seriously. And if you're worried about someone who may be carrying a knife, please call 101. We can help before another child like Fred is needlessly killed. Throughout the trial, we heard about the heroic actions of the members of the public who helped Fred after he was stabbed, and I want to pay tribute to them. To those people who stopped to help him and provide medical care, and to those who followed the boys away from the scene, allowing us to make a quick arrest. Thank you. I also want to pay my tributes to my colleagues and the other emergency services who attended the scene and were involved in the immediate response and investigation. We sign up to serve and help the public, but nothing can prepare you for what they encountered that day. And I thank them for doing all they could do to help Fred. Finally, I would like to thank my colleagues, Deputy SIO DS Matt Bly, the officer in the case, DC Jonathan Hurd, and the Family Liaison Officer, DC Gisette Davis, and the whole East Midlands Special Operations Unit Major Crime Team for their hard work and devotion to this case, and also to Fred's family and friends for the support they have given us. Thank you.